So that's a pretty rosy picture of it all. And I'm pretty confident in what we're doing. After all, my students and I have implemented this strategy many times over the past 30 years. It's how I built my own portfolio. It's how all my successful students have built theirs. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, a lot, actually. Every investment has risk, and it's possible, even with the best investments, to lose all your money. Let's look at a few of the hazards of buying real estate houses like this. Negative cash flow. Your taxes could go up and your rents could go down. You could have a vacancy. A tenant may damage your house and you'll need to pay to get it repaired. You may need to pay an attorney to evict a non-paying tenant. This is usually taken care of by your property manager. It's important to know your risks and be prepared for them. If you don't have any reserve funds, this may not be the right investment for you. I suggest you always keep a reserve for emergencies. When my reserves get low, and sometimes they do, I make sure to get them back up as quickly as I can. My experience as a landlord has been mostly good. All my properties are professionally managed for me, so when there's a problem with a tenant or work that needs to be done, I'm never the one who gets the phone call from that tenant in the middle of the night. In fact, they don't even know who I am. They talk to the property manager who solves the problem without me. I've owned properties for 35 plus years. I've seen it all. I've had properties damaged. I've had tenants who couldn't or wouldn't pay. I've had to pay attorneys to evict non-paying tenants. I've had storm damage that needed repairs. I've had cleanup work that needed to be done after the last tenant. All this is handled by my property managers. I don't do any of that work. I haven't been to see many of my properties in over a decade. Some I've never seen. I just read the QuickBooks report that my bookkeeper and property manager create for me every quarter. Sometimes the manager has to ask me for money to pay for damages or expenses, and I've sent it to them. But when you have a portfolio, it gets easier. I have quite a few properties, and I've never had a situation where all of them had problems all at the same time. So knock on wood, most of the time, the costs of the problems are covered by the income from the other properties I own. So I don't need my bookkeeper to send the property manager money very often. The worst time for me as a landlord was in 2008. We usually have a 3% vacancy rate on my portfolio, which is normal and pretty easy to manage. But in 2008, when the crash hit, my vacancy rate jumped up to 20%. It took about 6 months to get everything stabilized. Values dropped almost 30%, but my rents didn't go down. Even though my property values dropped, I wasn't very concerned because I wasn't going to sell them, and I knew the values would eventually come back. And they did within a few years. And now they've vastly exceeded what they were before the crash. My rents have increased, my property values have increased, and my mortgages have paid off. The reason none of this was a disaster for me was because I had reserves in the bank to cover my mortgages and other expenses during emergencies. You don't need a lot, but it's very helpful to have some. Overall, problems like this are just the cost of doing business. It happens to your stock portfolio too. You just don't see the reasons why it's fluctuating the same way you do when you own property. You also don't have nearly as much control if you buy stocks. The stock market is a black box compared to the relative transparency of owning houses. I've heard it said that your success is only limited by how much stress you can bear. Every investment you make, every opportunity you grab, everything you do in life entails risk. I would argue that even sitting at home and hiding from the world, putting your money in a mattress is risky. Life is risky. My life has been dramatically better because of the measured, intelligent risks I've taken. Sometimes problems happen and it sucks. I don't always win, but mostly life has been good to me and the ones I love because I was willing to take thoughtful, calculated, informed risks. And I doubt you'd be listening to this if you were mortally afraid of risk. You know it's part of any profitable endeavor or any successful investment plan. Ozam said it best, you have to be someone who doesn't give a shit about that stuff. If you're buying properties like this, you can afford a new water heater or repairs or a new roof every couple of decades, because the bottom line is, if you wait, you will always win in real estate. And because you have cash reserves, it gives you that cushion. That's the beauty of long-term real estate investing. If you wait, you will win. You can let me build your portfolio for you. My team and I will do everything. This requires some money and good credit. If you fit that criteria, just download and fill out the worksheet and send it to me and we'll get you going. Please don't do this unless you're serious. There's one more option. This is the one that most people take. You can do nothing. Everything that is coming at you in life will keep coming at you, whether you prepare or not. There's nothing you can do about that. But what you can do is prepare yourself for it. Create a solid financial structure you can live comfortably on for the rest of your life, and then pass on to the ones you love. Life is so much better when you're ready for what comes. All right, that's all I've got for now. If you want to work with me, fill out the worksheet and email it to me at joecrump@joecrump.com. Whatever you decide, we wish you all the best of all good things. Thanks now.